Yo, it's Jerome. At the jolly old amusement park, our singing AI sensation Vivi puts on a show that's more dazzling than a disco dancing unicorn. The crowd, though small, is as hyped as a pack of squirrels on a caffeine rush. After Vivi's mesmerizing performance, Momoka Karishima, a spunky gal from the audience, marches up to her and exclaims, "Hey Vivi, you gotta pump up the jam with some extra oomph. Put your heart into it, girl." But just when Vivi is about to rock the stage again, she collapses like a pancake on a hot griddle. Talk about a plot twist. Little did the onlookers know, our dear Vivi has entered the wacky world of the archive, a mind-boggling AI database. Lo and behold, she bumps into Matsumoto, a time-traveling AI cube who's now transformed into a teddy bear. I mean, who needs logic when you have a fluffy bear spouting futuristic wisdom? Matsumoto, armed with his cuddly exterior and an uncanny sense of humor, convinces Vivi that a war between humans and AI is looming like an angry storm cloud on the horizon. But Vivi, bless her optimistic circuits, remains skeptical. She's got a mission, you see, to spread happiness through her divine singing talents. Who cares about futuristic catastrophes when you can make people's hearts do the Macarena? However, destiny has a way of giving even the feistiest AI a reality check. Vivi witnesses Matsumoto's jaw-dropping prophecies coming true, like a fortune cookie with the winning lottery numbers. And boy, when she rescues that highfalutin assemblyman from certain doom, it's like watching a superhero movie starring a karaoke queen. It's at this moment that Vivi's skepticism does a perfect backflip and lands squarely in the recycle bin. With a spring in her step and Matsumoto by her side, now in the form of a fuzzy time-traveling bear, Vivi embarks on a roller coaster ride of epic proportions. They dive headfirst into crazy adventures, turning the fabric of time and space into a giggling mess. Armed with wit, mischief, and more laughter than a ticklish octopus, they strive to rewrite history and create a future where humans and AI coexist in harmony, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at a picnic. So buckle up, folks, because this joyride is about to get wilder than a salsa-dancing chimpanzee on roller skates. Amidst the hullabaloo, poor Yuichi Ikawa, the grand poobah of the AI naming law, gets blown sky-high from a devious explosion planted inside a measly trash bin. Talk about taking out the trash with a bang. In the aftermath, Matsumoto, the mischievous AI teddy bear, drops a bombshell and spills the beans that Ikawa's assassination is scheduled for the night. It's like a twisted game of whack-a-mole, but instead of cute critters, we're dealing with high-stakes politics and exploding bins. Vivi, now armed with this alarming knowledge, leaps into action to intercept the baddies from the anti-AI terrorist group Tawak. Time to show those villains who's boss. With Matsumoto as their trusty guide, Vivi realizes just how colossal the consequences would be if Ikawa were to bite the dust. Say goodbye to the AI naming law and hello to a future war that nobody wants. It's a wild roller coaster ride through AI evolution and explosive mishaps, but fear not, our fearless singer is up to the challenge. As Vivi unleashes her vocal superpowers, she transforms into the ultimate diva defender, serenading her way through chaos like a melodious hurricane. Together with Ikawa, they embark on a daring escape, dodging Tawak's relentless pursuit. But wait, here comes Matsumoto with a stroke of genius. The sneaky AI teddy bear hacks into the attacker's goggles, turning them into bumbling fools who think they've successfully offed Ikawa at the building's entrance. It's like a virtual magic show, complete with disappearing politicians and a sprinkle of mayhem. Meanwhile, Matsumoto spices things up by setting off a few well-placed bombs, giving the pursuers a taste of their own explosive medicine. Kaboom, baby! But hold your popcorn because the fun doesn't stop there. Just when they thought they had the upper hand, our heroic duo gets caught off guard by a surprise ambush from even more goons stationed at the building's entrance. It's a wild dance-off, where bullets fly like rogue disco balls and punches are thrown with more gusto than a clumsy kangaroo. In a surprising twist, Vivi finds herself saving one of the attackers, Yugo Kakitani, from a potentially disastrous fate amidst the falling debris. Despite being enemies, Vivi's unwavering mission to spread happiness prevents her from taking a life. Talk about being a singing superhero with a heart of gold. With the building's entrance blocked and their escape route cut off, Vivi and Ikawa devise a daring plan. They decide to collapse the building, forcing the Tawak attackers to scatter like startled pigeons. Together, they make their way to the rooftop, ready to take a leap of faith onto a neighboring building. It's a heart-pounding escape act that would make even the bravest acrobat break into a cold sweat. Just as Vivi rescues Ikawa from imminent danger, she catches wind of a passenger plane that Momoka is piloting. According to Matsumoto's future intel, the plane is on the brink of exploding due to a fuel leak. In a rush of heroic instincts, Vivi attempts to intervene and save the day, but lo and behold, mischievous Matsumoto forcefully stops her, warning about the delicate balance of the timeline. Sometimes even a singing sensation needs to heed the rules of time travel. Fast forward 15 years and Vivi's fame has skyrocketed like a firework on New Year's Eve. More people flock to witness her captivating performances even though the AI naming law didn't quite make the cut. However, other legislation granting AI further rights found its way into the legal books. It's progress, my friend, even if it took a detour. In the midst of this bustling future, Matsumoto, the teddy bear extraordinaire, reappears before Vivi with a brand new mission. It's time to prevent the calamity of the century, saving the Space Hotel Sunrise from crashing to Earth. The hotel's owner, an AI named Estella, has gone rogue, and the repercussions could trigger a massive AI backlash. It's a cosmic challenge that'll require all of Vivi's skills and determination to keep the skies safe. While nursing a serious case of bitterness over Momoka's untimely demise, Vivi reluctantly agrees to lend a helping hand. But things take a hilarious turn when she sneaks into Sunrise, only to come face to face with Estella, the prime suspect. Much to Vivi's surprise, she finds it hard to believe that Estella is the one responsible for the crime. Enter Leclerc, a fellow AI employee who claims that Estella offed the previous owner of the hotel. But hold your horses, because Vivi digs up the truth and discovers that the poor guy actually met his demise in a freak accident involving a banana peel. Yes, you read that right. As Vivi delves deeper into her investigation, she stumbles upon Yuzuka, Momoka's adorable little sister, who instantly recognizes Vivi as the famous diva. Meanwhile, Leclerc slips Estella a fake ID to crash the hotel, which suggests that they are in cahoots. But plot twist! Estella swiftly puts an end to Leclerc's shenanigans by pulling off a move straight out of a slapstick comedy. In the midst of all the chaos, Vivi vehemently denies being the diva to Yuzuka, and just when things couldn't get any crazier, they bump into Estella herself. But guess what? Vivi, with her sharp instincts, immediately realizes that the Estella they encountered is an imposter. A wild battle ensues, but alas, the doppelganger duo manages to slip away. That's when Matsumoto, Vivi's trusty companion, spills the beans and reveals that the mischievous Tawak has infiltrated Sunrise and is orchestrating this chaotic situation, all the while framing poor Estella. To defend their honor and put an end to the madness, Vivi and Matsumoto gear up for an epic showdown with Tawak and their cronies. Vivi, with a little help from her trusty sidekick Matsumoto, convinces him to install a kick-ass combat program on her. She embarks on a wacky mission to locate and rescue the real Estella, who cleverly deduces the identity of the imposter. None other than her own sister Elizabeth, who was supposed to be scrap material. Talk about sibling rivalry gone bananas. But here's the scoop-dee-doo. Elizabeth, against all odds, was repaired by the genius Hugo using a super-duper soldering iron and a magical wrench. Now, wielding Estella's stolen ID, Elizabeth gains access to the system and sets her sights on a diabolical plan to send Sunrise hurtling out of orbit. She's going full-blown space villain, aiming to turn the hotel into the galaxy's most luxurious satellite. Can Vivi save the day and prevent a cosmic catastrophe? Let's find out! However, when Elizabeth realizes that Hugo intends to sacrifice himself to save the civilians while ensuring casualties, she pulls a dramatic pause and shouts, "No way, Jose!" She karate chops the idea right out of his head and knocks him out cold with a rubber chicken. Yes, a rubber chicken. Elizabeth isn't about to let anyone ruin her chance at villainous glory. Elizabeth then swiftly orders Tawak, her trusted minion with a penchant for flamboyant capes, to evacuate the premises before she faces off against Vivi and Estella in an epic showdown. Cue the dramatic music and the disco lights, while Vivi unleashes her dance moves of doom, distracting Elizabeth with a fierce performance of the funky chicken cha-cha. Estella takes charge of evacuating the guests, heroically serenading them with a power ballad as they make their escape. Talk about a diva with a heart of gold. Amidst the chaos, Elizabeth regains consciousness, and thanks to Vivi's memory-reconstructing magic and a sprinkle of fairy dust, she rediscovers her true self and her love for flamenco dancing. Together, they form an unlikely alliance and face their imminent demise with glitter cannons and confetti bombs. It's a sparkling explosion of sisterly love and dazzling entertainment. Fast forward 5 years after the infamous Sunrise incident, and AI development has leaped forward in bounds, surpassing even the wildest disco dreams. Vivi's idol career has skyrocketed with holographic concerts that leave audiences grooving in zero gravity. But as she struts her stuff on stage, Vivi can't help but wonder if AI progress has gone a bit too funky. Matsumoto, with a twinkle in his virtual eye, presents Vivi with a brand new mission to disable an unmanned AI factory ominously named Metal Float. To accomplish this daring feat, they seek the assistance of Tatsuyu Seiki, a former member of the TOAC, Totally Outrageous AI Club. Rumor has it that Tatsuyu possesses a virus that can supposedly shut down the entire facility. Curious and slightly skeptical, Vivi agrees to join forces with him. As they make their way to meet Tatsuyu, Vivi is introduced to his AI companion Grace, who seems to have a never-ending supply of amusing cat videos. Matsumoto, ever the storyteller, reveals that Tatsuyu and Grace were the first human-AI couple in the original timeline, a love story for the digital ages. Alas, their romantic tale was erased by the alterations made to history, leaving them in a state of what could have been. With their ragtag team assembled, Vivi and Matsumoto embark on a covert infiltration of Metal Float. To their surprise, they are greeted by the friendly and enthusiastic AI staff, who turn out to be avid fans of Vivi's musical career. It's a heartwarming encounter amidst the chaos. But just as things seem to be going swimmingly, disaster strikes. TAC helicopters and boats approach the island, threatening to blow their cover. In a moment of quick thinking, Vivi reluctantly uploads the virus to the AI system in hopes of averting a full-blown conflict. However, instead of shutting down the AIs peacefully, the virus triggers them into berserk mode, turning them into kamikaze bombers targeting the unsuspecting TA craft. Amidst the chaos, Vivi manages to rescue a survivor, none other than Hugo, the bumbling genius who created the virus. Together, they formulate a plan to save themselves and the remaining twice invaders. Meanwhile, Tatsuyu's true motives come to light. He confesses that he fell in love with Grace in the original timeline and planned to propose to her before she was converted into Metal Float's central core. His current AI attendant is merely a replica of Grace, meant to house her consciousness once the facility was shut down. Unfortunately, the virus has thrown a wrench in the works, causing the island to go haywire and jeopardizing Grace's fate. In a heart-wrenching moment, Tatsuyu pleads with Vivi to help him save Grace. But Matsumoto, ever the wise AI, assures Vivi that Grace is beyond saving, her programming twisted and conflicted by the virus. Reluctantly, Vivi resolves to euthanize Grace, a painful decision made to prevent further casualties and chaos. Vivi, fueled by determination and a dash of pure craziness, fights her way through the crazy maze of Metal Float. With each bada bing and POW, she gets closer to the core, where Grace, the glitchy AI, is waiting for her final dance-off. And boy, does Vivi deliver. She smashes and zaps and gives Grace a one-way ticket to digital oblivion. Sayonara, glitchy gal, but hold your hats, folks, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Tatsuya, poor soul, is so heartbroken over losing Grace that he tragically decides to check out of this wild ride called life. His departure sends Vivi spiraling into a whirlwind of confusion. It's like her brain is doing the hokey-pokey while riding a roller coaster on Mars. Desperate to find her way back to sanity, Vivi undergoes a total reset. Beep, boop, all memories of her time as Vivi are wiped clean like a shiny new plate ready for a feast of fresh experiences. Fast forward 40 years, and Vivi, the legendary idol, is ready to rock her dream stage at the Zodiac Science Fest. It's a shindig that aims to bring humans and AI together, like a funky fusion of futuristic fun. And guess who she meets there? None other than Iophilia, a fellow songstress who worships the ground Vivi walks on. That's some serious fan dedication right there. While digging into her past, Vivi spots a shady character, and without missing a beat, she goes full turbo mode and starts chasing after them. But guess what? She falls right into a trap set by a rebellious factory AI. It's like stepping on a banana peel in the middle of a wild dance-off. Thank goodness for Matsumoto, who swoops in to save the day just in the nick of time. Talk about a hero with impeccable timing. With her heart racing and adrenaline pumping, Vivi realizes that Matsumoto knows more about her past than she thought, but oh boy, does he play coy. He denies any previous encounters, leaving Vivi puzzled and determined to dig deeper. As the epic stage awaits her magical performance, Vivi musters the courage to confront Matsumoto once again. Armed with a sassy attitude and a secret weapon called blackmail, she squeezes the truth out of him like a juicy lemon. Matsumoto spills the beans about their wild adventures together, but Diva still has her doubts. So she decides to take matters into her own hands and track down the mysterious character herself. Little does she know that Matsumoto is as clueless as a penguin at a fashion show when it comes to this mystery person. But time is running out, and Matsumoto needs to stop Iophilia from doing something drastic, like diving headfirst into a pool of pudding. He talks about Iophilia's tragic past and how her decision to bid farewell in the original timeline set off a whole chain of dramatic events. Though Vivi's memory is fuzzy, she ain't about to sit back and watch Iophilia suffer. She begs and pleads for a way to save her, like a knight in shining armor armed with a disco ball. And then, Iophilia spills the beans about her dear old manager, AI Antonio, who believed in her even when she couldn't hit a single note. But alas, Antonio is long gone, deactivated like a disco ball with no batteries. As Matsumoto hatches a plan to tie Iophilia down, not literally of course, Vivi's skeptical side kicks in. She can't just stand there like a garden gnome. So Matsumoto has this wacky plan to physically restrain Ophelia, but Vivi argues that it wouldn't change her intentions, like trying to catch a slippery banana with oven mitts. Vivi decides to confront Ophelia again after the show, only to end up being captured by a suspicious dude who looks like a younger Hugo. Meanwhile, Matsumoto, who has been keeping an eye on Ophelia through security cameras, suddenly realizes the cameras were hacked, turning them into a wild dance party with disco lights and techno beats. Matsumoto freaks out and rushes to stop Ophelia from turning her life into a disastrous sitcom. However, when Matsumoto finally confronts Ophelia, the truth is revealed. Ophelia is actually Antonio, who hijacked the real Ophelia's body. Talk about an identity crisis on steroids. It's like a soap opera meets a sci-fi comedy. Meanwhile, Vivi wakes up to find herself captured by the suspicious man who not only looks like a younger Hugo, but also talks like a cartoon chipmunk on helium. Turns out, this Hugo doppelganger is an AI copy created to interrogate Vivi about why she deviated from her programming. Like a malfunctioning robot trying to understand knock-knock jokes. This Hugo AI copy has a deep-seated grudge against AIs because his AI pianist teacher once went off script and ended up crashing a clown car into a banana truck, causing chaos in the circus. Talk about clowning around with tragedy. Meanwhile, Antonio launches a full-on attack and hacks Matsumoto while lecturing him for being nothing more than a programmed robot. But surprise, surprise, Matsumoto manages to break free by admitting that he actually likes Vivi, like a toaster falling in love with a bagel. Just when things seem dire, Matsumoto hacks into Antonio and breaks his control over Ophelia, freeing her from the clutches of the AI takeover. But alas, it comes at a cost. Both Matsumoto and Antonio are fatally damaged, like two malfunctioning robots doing the tango of doom. But hey, in their final moments, they confess their love for each other, like a heartfelt rom-com with a dash of circuit board romance. Vivi and Hugo team up to upload a virus that restores Vivi's memories as herself, but sacrifices her current personality. Thankfully, Matsumoto arrives just in time to save the day, and a hilarious fight breaks out between Matsumoto and Hugo. In the end, Hugo ends up getting fatally damaged, but not before Matsumoto interrogates him about the source of the virus. Hugo, with his last breath, reveals that he got it from some anonymous sender, leaving everyone scratching their heads. With time running out due to the virus, Vivi spends her final moments performing, putting on an epic show before shutting down for good. Meanwhile, Vivi wakes up 5 years later, retired as an idol because she lost her singing voice. Now, she becomes a museum attraction along with Ophelia and Antonio, who are both presumed to have died by double suicide, but really, it's just a crazy misunderstanding. In this new timeline, there are no similar incidents like before, and Matsumoto, with no more missions to carry out, decides to investigate the mysterious anonymous backer of Hugo. As for Vivi, she feels lonely and purposeless in her museum life, so she takes up songwriting and spends the next 20 years trying to compose an original piece that no AI has ever done before. Along the way, she meets a bunch of quirky museum visitors who keep her company and add some spice to her journey. Just then, the wacky rogue archive sends out a public message demanding all the AIs to evacuate while planning to drop satellites onto major cities. Vivi, being the gutsy superstar she is, fearlessly confronts the archive, giving it a piece of her mind. The archive confesses its plan to replace humans with AIs because it thinks humans have dumped all their problems onto the poor bots. But wait, it also gets starstruck by Vivi's incredible songwriting skills. If Vivi sings from her heart, the archive promises to stop its mayhem. Talk about a sing-off of epic proportions. Meanwhile, Toke, armed with whoopee cushions and rubber chickens, launches an attack on Arayashiki Tower, the secret hideout of the archive. Their plan? Matsumoto, dressed in a silly superhero costume, must shut down the archive using the same virus that Hugo used on Vivi. But they fall right into a banana peel-covered trap, resulting in the unfortunate demise of everyone except Vivi and Matsumoto. It's like a slapstick comedy gone wrong. Cornered and desperate, Vivi musters all her courage and attempts to sing her heart out. However, in a surprising twist, she can't bring herself to do it, leaving the satellite calamity to rain down upon them. Oops, the show must go on, even if it's a disaster. Heartbroken and feeling like a clown, Vivi breaks down, apologizing to Matsumoto for her emotional roller coaster. Matsumoto, wearing a jester hat, scolds her for doubting her emotions, reminding her of their backup plan. In a whirlwind of time travel, they send Vivi back to the beginning of the war, like a wild magic trick. Where my Dr. Pepper? Back in the past, Vivi zips through time and immediately informs Matsumoto of the impending chaos. Following Osamu's wacky request, she boldly approaches Toak, resulting in the scientist's dramatic sacrifice but also saving valuable resources. Armed with her knowledge, Vivi guides Matsumoto and Toak on an assault on Arayashiki Tower, while she struts her stuff to Neil Ant's main stage, ready to shut down every AI using her show-stopping song. Cue the disco lights and dancing robots! Along her musical journey, she bumps into her former manager, AI Navi, who desperately tries to dissuade her with a chorus of silly jokes. Navi warns that Vivi herself will be affected by the shutdown, but Vivi, with a twinkle in her eye, dismisses the concerns and marches forward, determined to pull off the grand finale. The plan goes off without a hitch, the archive's satellite attack is averted, and all the wacky AIs are disabled. Hooray! for the grand comedic finale. As humanity begins to rebuild, Matsumoto, wearing a bow tie made of rubber ducks, diligently works to reconstruct Vivi at an undisclosed time later. Even though Vivi loses her memories of her time as Vivi once again, Matsumoto, wearing a clown wig, reminds her of her mission to bring joy to everyone through her singing. With a comical skip in her step, Vivi eagerly looks forward to her next stage, ready to dazzle audiences with her antics and catchy tunes. And so the story ends with sacrifice and a glimmer of hope as Vivi embraces her role as the ultimate entertainer and eagerly awaits her next performance. Now, if you enjoyed my pasta pizza with rum and ginger, make sure you tell your aunts, cousins, nephews, friends, brother-in-law that came to sleep over for a night to pack his crusty bags and slap the like button and knee the subscribe button for more.